Mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, let's try that again. Mic check. Testing, testing. I think it's a little better. Good evening. Welcome to Cool Breeze. I'm Zephyr and K-Lot Radio. How we feeling? Playing a morning track in the evening. I don't know why it's so vibey. Maybe because it's daylight savings on like the early darkness. I'm like leaning into it. How's everyone feeling? Gonna get into it. Well, before we get into it, we're already starting with the nostalgic. Yeah, I know. He might not want to be doxxed on the lot radio. Well, you are hearing the voice of none other than Ben Manzone, aka There Is No Planet Earth. Oh, so happy to have you here tonight, Ben.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So
What's going on?
We're going to get into some things a little bit later. That's just a little taste. But Ben is someone whose work, archival work, DJ work, commitment to New York City nightlife, and U.S. nightlife culture, generally speaking. His work I deeply admire and respect and really enjoy discussing kind of a lot of different, a mind I really respect. And we have a lot of, I think, really interesting chats that the world needs to hear. I don't know if the world agrees, but they don't know yet.
They don't know yet.
They're not ready for it. Maybe they're ready. We'll see. But anyway, Ben is going to be playing a little bit for us tonight, and we're going to be in conversations. This is a really special episode. It's also the last Cool Breeze of 2025, so I'm honored you're here, and we get to close the holiday season out on a kind of feels like it hasn't really started yet, but whatever, we're here. So I'm going to play for a little bit, then we're going to chat, but there is no planet Earth in the building. Lot Radio, we're here till 8. Keep it locked. Say hi if you're listening. We'll check back in a little bit.
Now I've seen that morning glory. I've seen it. Say, want to be here. Can't you take me there? Away from silent days of sinners and prophecies of pain. And prophecies of pain. Want you to love me too. Want you to be my man. Baby, understand. I'll never let you down. Always when you cry. Come on, spread yourself over me like peanut butter. Spread yourself over me like peanut butter. Spread yourself over me like peanut butter. Come on, spread yourself over me like peanut butter. Baby, feeling grows. Moments pass by so slowly. Visions of your smile just won't erase. Brings me back to that empty space in my mind. You always stay on my mind, lady, and you know it really blows me away. Can't explain what's come over me. Never thought that I'd feel this way. Day to day the feeling grows. Moments pass by so slowly. Visions of your smile just won't erase. Brings me back to that empty space. My lady, and you know it really blows me away. Can't explain what's come over me. Never thought that I'd feel this way. Day to day the feeling grows. Moments pass by so slowly. Visions of your smile just won't erase. Brings me back to that empty space. You always stay on my mind, lady, and you know it really blows me away. Can't explain what's come over me. Never thought that I'd feel this way. Day to day the feeling grows. Moments pass by so slowly. Visions of your smile just won't erase. Brings me back to that empty space.
Hey Lot fam, how we feeling? Happy Sunday, everyone. Thank you for tuning in if you are. Say hi in the chat, say hi on the socials. So we're gonna chat a little bit. Would you like to introduce yourself before we get into the tea?
Yeah, so I am Ben Manzone, aka There Is No Planet Earth. I am curator and admin and person behind the Instagram account There Is No Planet Earth, which is an audio-visual archive capturing nightlife history from New York, Chicago, Detroit, basically U.S. underground dance music scene.
Yeah, an incredible archive. I was gonna say, I know like archive is sort of like baked into the title, but I think I was gonna be like a little annoying and be like, don't just call it an Instagram account, because that's the platform that it's hosted on. But I think it really, just to sort of, as a fan of the account and someone who knows you, but also just a fan of the work that you do. For those who are listening, if you're not familiar with the archive, I think it's really one of the most sort of like meticulously curated and thoughtful documents that we have of this thing we call nightlife and U.S.-based underground dance music. I think it's important because when we're talking about something with integrity and sincerity, we always have to kind of like name what it is, right? And so, and have like a container, so to speak. I'm going to use mental health language for many of you know my day job. You know, it's related. It's not unrelated. Cultural work is also emotional work, and emotional work is mental health work. And my day job is but whatever. Anyway, we won't get into the weeds about that yet. But the work that you're doing, it's so thoughtful, it's so intentional, and I think a lot of times certain things we don't really see stuff that's well curated and thoughtful with like and well researched outside of like academic spaces.
Right.
And we need to.
Right.
And so that's one of the reasons why I love what you do so much is because it's a way of bridging, you know, right now the big thing is like curation, content. That's what people call it. But that's not what I don't want to speak for you about what you're doing. But I think what you offer is deeper and richer than that.
Right.
And it's important.
I mean, everyone wants to be a curator now.
Right.
Like lately I've been getting kind of like sort of, you know, how do we get our platform to be like yours?
Oh, interesting.
Kind of stuff.
Interesting.
And it's like, well,
brand consulting.
Yeah, it's sort of like, well, it's from the culture. And that's why it works.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
I just have been immersed in this for the last, 20 plus years. So it's just a reflection of like my love of culture and participation.
Yeah.
And, you know, what I've start to realize is that not everybody kind of takes this approach of like learning the history.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of like, I'm not saying that I'm 101, but I just thought that this would be cool.
Yeah.
If you're
Absolutely.
a DJ and you care about dance music culture, that you should know the history.
No, absolutely.
And I thought everyone just kept their little like stash of like whatever, flyers, photos,
tapes, whatever.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, and I think, you know, you just brought up so many things that I want to touch on. And briefly before, you know, I do want to ask a little bit of sort of like the genesis of the account, when you started it, why you started it, when you did, that sort of thing, which I think is relating to all of this. But what you just said about just sort of this feeling of like, well, I thought everyone did this. I thought everyone kind of like, to borrow from like the sort of like old head hip hop where like you do the knowledge, right? Like that's like, but that's like an expectation is like when you're new entering a community space, the musical spaces that we are, you know, a part of and have been, you know, the expectation is like you learn and you study and you watch way before you even like dare to call yourself a producer of any kind, like a DJ, an artist.
Right.
Like you it's, you know, and I think some people kind of call that gatekeeping. There's a lot of like, but I do think, you know, something that has come up, I'm sure in conversations that you and I have had, conversations with friends, where we kind of joke around like maybe we need a little bit of gatekeeping still. Like there's been this push to like reject it. But anyway, I think getting back to that thing of like, I thought everyone studied. Right. I thought everyone really like wanted to know kind of what comes before entering the space. And maybe that used to be more true.
Right.
But in an era where like everything is kind of quick and easy and somewhat superficial in terms of knowledge and how people access knowledge, doing true archival work, albeit through a social media platform.
Right.
But it's important that you are. I get it where you're like, oh, I don't want to call myself one of one. But what you're doing is really important, and I think is an important like antithesis to how everything else is nowadays, which is like short form content. You don't really learn anything. You just kind of, it like washes over you. I mean, how many times have I watched like a cooking video and I'm like, what a cool recipe. I'm going to make this.
And never do it.
Never do it. Don't even remember that I looked at it. Like the knowledge doesn't actually sink in, and it's not designed to. So to have something like There Is No Planet Earth that is, and it's not just an archive. I mean, I think that's also, or not just an Instagram account, right? There's other branches of the work that you're doing.
It's a mix series and interview style podcast.
So there's branches to it.
There are branches to
Absolutely. it. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the genesis of it. I know you've been a collector and a like sort of gatherer of knowledge and cultural artifacts for a long time, but when did the account start and why then?
Okay, so it started in February of 2021. So we were still sort of in like lockdown recovery. I was like bored to tears sitting on my couch.
Can't go out.
I had my little like quarantine bubble, right, of friends that would come over. We would just like watch YouTube videos. But they would see my like favorites and like watch history, and they're like, "You're not watching trash. You're watching actually like really cool stuff." Which is the kind of material that I'm posting like daily. But that's the stuff I go in like these YouTube wormholes. I have these like favorites. But even before that, just as I said earlier, just my process of like how I approach DJing from like a digging perspective is just like to collect like ephemera or like videos or like ripping stuff that I know is like kind of rare. So I've just always had that practice. And when I started DJing, I was like, vinyl. I had to go to record stores. So I had to work a little harder to get knowledge. And I have always just kept on that practice of like looking through charts and books of like how, you know, because when I started
physical culture, media, tangible things, and like we're talking about like digging, sort of like digital digging is a phrase you'll hear now, and like, you know, of course there's like there's different ways to read that, but that process, like that process is baked into you, so that no matter where you're doing it, if you're doing it on YouTube, you're doing it in a record store, the process remains the same.
Exactly.
Because that's how, you know, there is something really special about not just physical culture, but the community that is born out of physical spaces.
Right.
And, you know, so to have that background as someone who like, that's how, if you wanted to DJ, you had to go to parties to hear the records.
Right.
Then you'd hear stuff that maybe you'd never heard before, and then you have to go seek that out. Maybe you knew the DJ well enough that they'd tell you what the record was, but maybe you didn't. And you had to like figure out, how the hell am I going to find this record? Who knows what this is? But that process created investment.
Sure. Definitely.
And I'm grateful that I got my start around then too, because it's very different to do it all. Like,
it is.
Yeah.
And then I have to mention, because I always mention it as part of my origin story, is Deep House Page, which was like fundamental to my like dance music education. And I feel like that's really like the roots of like There Is No Planet Earth, because that's when I started to like save these mixes and flyers and stuff, and just like really started getting into the history of it. But again, like, to fast forward to 2021, my friends were like, "You have this great stuff. You should share this." And I started to share stuff on TikTok originally, and it just like fell on deaf ears.
Oh, interesting.
And then my friend Lati was like, "No, do it on Instagram." And I started like day one, just like a few videos, and like I just pulled this whole thing like out of my ass, which was like, "Oh, There's No Planet Earth." That's like a line from a classic 1992 techno record, Archive
And
Queen.
it's a little bit of like a, you know, homage, like a shout out, like a if you know, you know kind of thing too. Yeah, totally.
And love letter to Detroit. Detroit.
Yeah.
So the first day I was like, I'm just messing around. It's just gonna be my friends, like whatever, like heads, just like.
So you had no idea that it was gonna like really become a thing.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like everyone's like, oh yeah, this is Sears scholarship.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just thought it was like cool shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But it's cool shit coming from the right person. So it becomes serious. And that's what I think is so important about having this kind of curatorial approach, where it's not, you know, no shade to like the content creators out there, but it's like, it's very clearly not that. It's not like this thing that like, I think when I think of what has become like the content creation space, and for those who are just listening to the audio, I'm putting quotations around that. It's a lot about just like grabbing attention, but not necessarily deepening any sort of like, I even hate to use the word engagement, because even that has different meaning now. But yeah, so kind of like you're bridging that gap, kind of like I said before, but it comes through in the work, right? That this is someone who genuinely cares about this, has been around it for a long time, is presenting it in a way that's thoughtful and concerned with, you know, where does this all come from, and what are the connections to the generations past? Yeah. Sure. It's cultural memory. It's not just like content. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I also like, people ask me about like, you know, your identity and all this kind of stuff. And I always felt like I wanted the content itself to be like the front face of it, and not necessarily me. I always felt like I honored them. Speak for itself. And the me in it is like that. This is a reflection of my taste and my knowledge.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
People are like, well, how do you curate this? I'm like, I just think this stuff is cool.
Yeah.
It interests me.
Yeah.
Like if you're not interested, okay, whatever.
Absolutely.
But it interests me.
Yeah. And that all of our interests, but then you as this person who's like gathering and filtering through, like that's also a part of the process of archival work, is that like all of us provide a lens.
Right.
And it's the lens is built through our personal experiences, our lived experiences, the cities we grew up in, the music we heard,
Absolutely.
you know, as kids, or even, you know, if it wasn't music that you were hearing in the house that you grew up in, it was like, what did you hear when you left the house? What was playing when you went to other, you know? And so it's like, I think it's also important that, you know, making that choice to sort of have some anonymity behind it allows people to come into it with like whatever their reference points are.
Sure.
Like they can see the same video and it might not resonate the same exact way, but something is shared between the two of you through this other thing. And I think it also honors the people who have created these cultures too. Like it doesn't become this thing of like the person who's curating becomes the spotlight. It's like
I never wanted that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I never wanted it to be a platform for like other opportunities. Because again, like when I started it was like we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a project. It was like something to.
Yeah. It's a labor of love.
Absolutely.
100%.
And that comes through very clearly. Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, I have so many questions. I have so many things I want to get into. But you're also an accomplished DJ in your own right.
Well, thank you.
So why don't you play us some music and maybe we'll check back in in a little
good.
bit and we'll chat some more. This is There Is No Planet Earth for Cool Breeze.
What's going on? What's going on?
We're here till 8. Keep it locked in.
I don't wanna know where you've been. I don't wanna know who you've been with. All I want is for you to come home. All I really want is for you to come home. I found you, Iyakaya, Oyatanga. I found you, Iyakaya, Oyatanga. I wanna know what's keeping us apart. 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 I wanna know what's keeping us apart.
Hey, I'm back. Just on the mic, though. You've been rocking out with Ben for a little bit.
Groove, everybody.
Cool breeze.
Can everyone hear me?
I think, yeah. And I think, let me turn. Let's do that too.
Yeah, it's
Listen,
better. Yeah,
production. Wearing many hats right now.
that's right.
DIY. Well, I don't say it's DIY. A lot radio has high production value, but we're kind of on our own here. We're figuring it out. Anyway, how you feeling, Ben?
I'm feeling great. You know,
Playing all the joints.
yeah. Set there.
Yeah, it's fine. Very cool breeze coded, as the kids would say.
You know, I came prepared
Yeah, absolutely. You did your research
for the breeze.
For the breeze. We're here. So yeah, it's been really lovely chatting, kind of talking, thinking out loud about nightlife as we often do. So we do have a question coming in from the audience. Before we get to that, I wanted to go a little bit just learning about you and your history in New York City nightlife. You know, you've been a participant both as a DJ and a party goer for, as you say, 20 plus years.
Yes.
What's that look like for you?
Well, I mean, even before that, like
Yeah.
I started to go to like nightclubs in like the early to mid 90s, going to like punk and hardcore shows and like indie shows all over the city. So I got like sort of introduced to this idea of like undergrounds.
Yeah.
From a pretty young age, from like as early as 14, going to all sorts of places I shouldn't have been.
Yeah, totally. No, I'm with you on
But
that.
I didn't like get into like the club sort of dance scene until more the late 90s, early 2000s. As I was coming into my adulthood,
Yeah.
you know, I was getting into clubs with fake IDs
Yeah.
or just like under the radar. But I definitely, like, I'd say I'd heavily started going out in like the early 2000s. Plant Bar was a big place for me. You know, Transmission Monday night. Passerby on the West Side was like right up to school floor. That was a big, you know, I discovered Theo Parrish pretty early on, and like Bang the Party, which is great at Frank Lounge. That was like, so when I first started going out, I was going to a lot of different things. I was going to like what existed for the techno scene at the time, which was pretty minimal and minimal.
Yeah. Both in both Pennsylvania.
The Electro Clash thing was happening. There was like kind of a disco thing happening in metro area. DFA was bubbling. There were a lot of like this like post-punky kind of sound, like these bands were playing.
Yeah.
And then when there would be like a party after that, these like weird spaces around here.
And we say here, we're talking about
Williamsburg,
Greenpoint, which is very different at this.
Yeah, like people lived in
absolutely.
these spaces. There were like artists' lofts. They lived there.
Yeah.
And then they would have shows
Yeah.
to pay for the rent.
Yeah, rent parties, but like actual shows, DIY, like really in that.
Yeah, and then when they would have parties till all hours of the night, and that was that's what I stepped into. But I was like open. I was going to all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
But it also sounds like you're talking about a time in New York City nightlife scene where like you as an individual were kind of genre agnostic, but like so was the scene in certain ways.
Yeah.
Like there were like pockets of different things going on where like you were into, like you said, punk, hardcore.
Right.
Or, you know, you might kind of be more strongly into like that channel over there. But what that was happening alongside like the post-disco, like electro, like that's. So for me, you know, and we'll jump back to you as well, but you know, I moved to New York about 15 years ago. So I'm not a native New Yorker. I didn't grow up here. And part of, you know, I've passed that benchmark that some people, and I consider New York my home for hopefully the rest of my life. But, as someone who kind of on the outside in, and even going back to thinking about like forums and message boards, like that was big for me, of like learning about music and what was going on in New York and knowing like that's a place I want to be.
Right.
And I say that for me, that was around that electro clash, early 2000s era, where I was like heavily online. They started running the Funghua bus from Chinatown to Chinatown. I grew up in Boston. I'm not going to shout out Boston because I knew from a young age I need to get the fuck out of there.
I've taken that bus.
Yeah.
I've been on that bus.
Yeah, it was
Philly and Boston.
Yeah, but
and DC.
Yeah, that's right. It was a couple stops. If you were lucky, they'd make the stops. Sometimes they just slow down and like push you out as it rolled by. But yeah, so I started coming to New York when I was around 14 or 15, and this was in the early 2000s. And for me, I was into records and I was into sneakers, and those are the two things that I'm like, I got to be in New York for.
Yeah, exactly.
But I say all that to say that I think that it's interesting to kind of. And I want to talk a little bit about your thoughts on like the current state of nightlife. We'd be remiss if we didn't touch on that, But thinking about that time and those eras, like underground itself was an aesthetic. It wasn't so much if you were like, it's like, this idea, and even just using the word aesthetic is, again, takes on different meaning now. But this idea that like doing shit on your own, it wasn't so much about branding oneself as I'm this genre or I'm this kind of artist or making this kind of thing. It was like doing cool weird shit with your friends and word of mouth. Like it just happened very, like stuff was shared very differently, but you also had to be there in person to like hear about it and learn about it.
Well, you kind of have to zoom out when you're talking about these, even now and then, like what was going on like broader and socially.
Yes.
Right. So like in the early 2000s, post 9/11.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
many of us were entering our adulthood at that time.
Right.
And so it was just this like release at the time. But
Yeah.
all these like there's like a creative sort of thing happening in New York.
Yeah.
With bands and all this like it was just like a melt, like it was like just like a lightning in a bottle time period. Right?
Yeah. What was the documentary? It was a book, and the documentary that just came out. It was so good. I saw it.
In the bathroom or something like that.
Yeah, but about those years of like post 9/11 New York and the cultural spaces that were coming out at that time. And yeah, that was right around when I started coming to the city just to kind of check shit out. And like, I would say too, we think about like social structures, and I'm big into like historical context, how it influences culture. That's like, it's, we can't ignore one versus the other. And I feel like maybe in this day and age, because of how much we talk about identity politics and social context and, online and in these cultural spaces, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not like, shitting on that necessarily, but it is kind of important, I think, to remember that there was a time where like, now those conversations are very taken for granted almost. Like it's very forward facing, that like you have to kind of identify, this is who I am, this is what I represent politically, almost before the work itself.
Right.
I think a lot of it has to do with branding. I think a lot of it has to do with like things taking place online representing themselves. But it was a cool and interesting time to just be around and see what was going on. Yeah, so I'm glad that you brought that up, and like that's also your the origin story. I think it influences the work you do now.
Sure.
Yeah.
But to bring it into where we're at now is like you got to understand, life in this country is post pandemic.
Yes.
We're still
absolutely.
And that kind of trickles down to nightlife, because I feel like we're still looking for our spark again.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
We have all these options. People are going out. The clubs are filled, but it's still, it's missing the carefree thing.
Well, we can't be, we're not carefree. So like our cultural, but I think you bring up a great point, which is something I wanted to, this idea that like pre and post, like a major sort of societal rupture, the culture shifts and it changes. So we look at like post 9/11 New York City culturally, that like was a mark.
Totally
mark
different.
The time.
Totally different.
And similarly, having lived in New York now, like pre and post pandemic, and that there is something markedly different. And I think for a lot of, to bring it back to thinking about like social media and community building, right? That like on the one hand, I think it's wonderful that you don't have to actually physically live in a particular place in order to like engage with what's going on there, right? Like online communities there without necessarily like a physical, they don't have to be tied to a physical space. With that being said, regional culture and how scenes develop were so like, it was important to those times, like even thinking of the early 2000s and dance
Right.
music scene, regional dance music. I mean, I went to college for 3 semesters in Philly.
Right.
That's how I got exposed to Baltimore Club and
Right.
Philly Club, Jersey
Oh, man.
Club, all of that
Holotronics,
stuff.
all that stuff.
Holotronics, like, you know, I mean, we don't love Diplo anymore, but in those days, I mean,
That was fun. We had
it was
fun.
so much fun. The holler boards, like so fun. And it was like, it was the Wild West, you know, but I say that to say that like, you know, the influence that region and location and culture, like these things were in communication with each other, but they had their own distinct voice and identity.
Absolutely.
And the internet has kind of flattened that in a way. And maybe not entirely in practice, but I think for a lot of young people, I'll say, and by young, I don't necessarily mean just by age, but like how long they've been into nightlife or dance music. If their nightlife age is since the pandemic, they're learning about a lot of the stuff through the filters of social media and
Sure.
not necessarily on the ground. And that's different. It's different.
Right, but they're also experiencing it in a different way.
Right.
And like you have to kind
Right.
of like respect that. All right, go, oh, okay, so this is their experience with it.
Sure.
But I think I guess my hidden agenda that wasn't always there with my page
Yeah.
is that like, look, this is how we used to get down.
Yeah. Yes.
This is how it was.
Yes. Yeah. And it's
And-
okay that it's not what it is.
But it
now,
could be.
But it could be. And we have to know. We have
Right.
to. We have to think about and engage with what we lost
Right.
in order to create something meaningful moving forward.
And I also totally understand that one thing that's special when you look at this old footage is they're experiencing this stuff for the first time as a new thing
Yes.
emerging.
Yes.
And now we
Yeah.
have everything as sort of rear view mirror. We're like kind of been there, done that. So it's like, that's the difference is like, this
Yeah.
is like you're watching
It's
these
exciting,
rave
it's new.
things. This is a new
And it's
thing.
and it's the first time. Absolutely. Like, do you remember the first time you felt that sort of like sensation in your body of like walking into a club? I can't pinpoint
Right.
what party or what club I snuck into.
Right.
But I remember how exciting that felt. And like,
Right.
how dare any, I'm not going to speak for us in the room, but like any of us who are of a certain age, like, you know, I don't know, shit on kids for like getting excited about feeling that for the first time. They're experiencing it very differently, but it is still something that's like special. But yeah, totally. And I think that like, yeah, I just think there's so much to that sort of thing of like how we experience community and culture and how this idea of cultural memory, kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but what that means as opposed to like nostalgia might be something that I experience. And maybe I'm wrong. Shout out to my friend, Dr. Janine, who's listening, who is a professor and a scholar researcher, and her work specifically is around nostalgia and social media, which is very tied into what we're talking
Right.
about. But this idea, like I might have a specific memory of something I actually went to 20 years ago, right? But cultural memory is something that is like, it can get passed down across a community and across a culture that I might see something and I might not have been at that party, but it still like strikes some sort of resonance for me because it's tapping into some broader feeling.
Right.
And that's what I think your work can do for a lot of younger
Sure.
generation.
And I also post about stuff that I wasn't personally there for.
Sure.
And I don't like, I think at one point there was a sort of this like authenticity badge of like, well, you're not that old.
Right. You wasn't there.
Yeah. But I always combat that with like, well, how do history books get written?
Absolutely.
Like,
That's
like-
always been the case.
Like, you know, when
Yeah.
they're curating an art museum with all these historical pieces, you're like, were you there when
Right.
Picasso was painting
And,
that?
and
No.
do you love it less because you didn't watch him like with the brushstrokes? Right. And that authenticity piece is so like it gets thrown around so much. And it's tough because on the one hand, I do think it is, I don't think it means nothing, but I also think that stuff gets overused and gets like turned into like you said, a badge that can either be like given or like taken away from someone. It's almost used as like a, you know, prove yourself or else you're not get like allowed entry. And that, you know, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because on the one hand, you know, we want to respect the culture and where it came from, the origins of it. We want to make sure that we're remembering these people in these places. Because in a lot of ways, I mean, we can't talk about New York City without talking about, you know, the G word that is annoying, but, you know, to talk about. But like Williamsburg, you talk about going to DIY parties in the lofts in Williamsburg. We can't recreate that now if we wanted to because the physical spaces aren't
Right.
the same.
Right.
So on the one hand, I think this like relationship to authenticity is important in the sense of like, if we can't physically still have these spaces because cities change, communities change, we should still honor and remember them so they're not like lost in the dust.
Right.
At the same time, if we want to be like authenticity police, then like no one gets to have anything.
I just wanted to circle back to on one thing you just said was that about these spaces like this couldn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know, New York will forever be in this flow of like the venues sort of reflecting where the city is at.
Yep.
So
Yep.
the whole loft thing happened back then because
Right.
the club thing was dying. The big club
Yeah.
thing was dying because Giuliani didn't want it anymore.
Yep.
And so what happened as a reaction, there was this whole like cabaret laws that came in the early 2000s. So bars and clubs had these like no dancing signs.
Right. Right.
So
you
what did
had
we
to go underground.
So how do we react? We
Yeah.
went underground.
Absolutely.
Like in the mid, you know,
Absolutely.
we didn't have a lot of mid-size around the time like Bossa Nova
Yeah.
popped up, right?
Right. Right.
There weren't a lot of like mid-sized clubs like that.
Yeah.
So what did we do? We had warehouse parties.
Right. Right. And that is such a great thing to like point out, to remember that like a lot, because a big part of nostalgia is like romanticizing things. And I think that, you know, we have to be clear-eyed when we look at this stuff and celebrate it for what it was, but also acknowledge that like it wasn't just this like people were still like scrappy. Like there's like a certain like, yeah, ethos that we can romanticize about the DIY era and what that looked like. But it also is important to remember it was a reaction to the political, like the politics and the social, like
policy of the time.
of the time. And that's always going to be the case. And I think I use that as a way to encourage folks both in their like personal and, you know, if let's say majority of people listening here, even if they're not DJs, they're probably people who are interested in music and nightlife.
Sure.
That if you're a participant on any level, engaging in the civic life of the city that you participate in, it's like especially if you didn't grow up here, and I say this as someone who did not grow up here, but has always sort of had this like love for New York City and knew I wanted to be here someday, that if you love the city for the culture that it produces that you want to be a part of, I think there's a duty and a responsibility to engage in the civic life of that city.
Absolutely.
So that we can have spaces that allow us to create and participate in culture that isn't just for rich people who like want to buy into the aesthetic but do nothing to like really
Right.
grow the community.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we could talk about this for a lot of
we could.
time. It's probably,
I'm
our
gonna switch.
thesis
I'm
probably
gonna
all
switch.
over the place.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch sides with you. So
Yeah,
or maybe I should cue the record up on the other side.
Yeah, let's get into some more music. We're still
Okay.
here till 8. Maybe we'll chat a little bit more before we close out. But Ben's gonna play some more music, and we'll check back in. This is Cool Breeze.
You can press play.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will press play. This is Ben's record, but I also had it in my bag. So
Yeah.
here we go. Great
You know what
minds.
it is.
Yep. And it's a great message to what we were just talking about. Okay, y'all, we gotta keep on trying.
People everywhere, I'm talking to you. Yeah, you better get your mind together before it's too late.
Obrigado, Brazil. Thanks for listening. Some proper Sunday vibes.
There you go.
There we go. It's been so fun. We're not done yet, but we just wanted to, check back in a little bit. I feel like many of our conversations, we open more cans of worms than we close. But hopefully it's been interesting for you all as well. I think, Ben and I definitely share a love and passion for thinking critically about all of this stuff. Not critical in the sense of get to hate on everything, but critical in that it's important to unpack and discuss and understand what makes it meaningful to us and to others and why. And I think that some people that's not how they participated, and that's totally cool too. Just show up and feel it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we're kindred spirits in the sense that we're gonna process, and we're gonna unpack. And I think that's a way of showing love for something you care deeply about as well.
Yeah.
There's a joke I tell, we have a lot of mutual friends, and, a mutual friend that we were talking about, my ghost co-host, Ivan, this was years ago, but we were out at lunch with a bunch of other DJs and people that, we know, but I remember it maybe wasn't that we hang out with all the time. And it was something where me and Ivan got in our usual sort of talking shit, cracking jokes kind of bag, the normal way we talk about DJing or whatever party we had been to and whatever was going on. And someone said something to us, we're like, you guys sound like such haters. And I just remember being so defensive of to speak critically of something is a way of also engaging in something that you love. It's a way to show it love.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the sense of the art form itself or the culture itself. And also it kind of struck an interesting chord with me in the sense of if everything is good, then nothing is special. And it's also important to talk about the parts of it that feel different, or it's not necessarily are bad, but because it's not so black and white. But talk about for instance, you brought up something that you brought up earlier that I wanted to come back to is balancing this way of thinking about modern nightlife, and really what we mean by that, I think at this point is post COVID-19 nightlife, and how in some ways, people who are participating in it for the first time in these recent years can't help how they're learning about stuff. If they're hearing Theo Parrish for the first time through a series of recorded mixes, that's not a bad thing. That's how they're learning about it. Or if they got put onto something because they saw it on TikTok, that's not an inherently bad thing. But something you brought up earlier is that there is something that is different and might be missing from our nightlife world in New York City, at least, but probably elsewhere as well. That feels different than before the big change.
Right.
I was wondering if you wanted to expand on that.
Well, again, and going back to what I said before, it's a problem with the culture at large because this is life post-pandemic, and we're still picking up the pieces.
Absolutely.
And we're still processing that. And where's the spark? So it's coming back in waves. But one thing I just wanted to go back to within all of this stuff, the thing of nostalgia, what I do is sort of could be construed as nostalgic. Mm-hmm. But one thing about New Yorkers is we always have this tendency to think that the best days are behind us.
Yep.
The good old days. It doesn't matter when.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what era.
This is a generational pattern.
It was always better,
then.
but we never stop and be like, what's amazing right now?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And there's so much of the old New York still here.
Absolutely. And that are like still clubbing and still going out. And I don't even say that to say like the only good parties are the ones where it's like the average age is 50 plus.
Right.
But just the fact
They're my
that
favorite.
yeah, same here. I mean, I'm not saying they're not the best parties either. But just the fact that that can coincide with like the stuff that I'm too old to know about,
Right.
you know, and that's all happening in New York City still to this day is like one of the incredible gifts about being a part of this scene and this culture. And yeah, I'm totally with you. It actually makes me think of The Sopranos, where like I was talking to someone recently where, you know, I'm a big fan. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. But part of why I love it and what it relates to what we're talking about as like pop culture cuts across the board is that I think sometimes people minimize it for being like, it's just a gangster show. It just glorifies violence. That's all it's about. But I think it's really a show about like the decline of America, like American like essentialism, and
Right.
and whether or not that ever was true. But
Sure.
a big part of that sort of the first line of the show is Tony talking about like, I came into this thing too late. The good days are behind me.
Right.
And that's such a like American cultural trope, and it definitely plays into like New York City nightlife and culture where it was always better when you were young, like when you were having, like, you know, like that's a part of that feeling. It's like, well, you have this memory of things were better then because you were in your early 20s and
Right.
you didn't have like as many life responsibilities and your joints didn't ache, and like that's not a bad thing. But we're always gonna have like a nostalgia for that. And I'm with you where I think to call the work that you do simply as nostalgic or even as if that's a bad thing, but I think it is reductionist.
Right.
Like it reduces it to something because it's not just about this was better then, so we have to only look at then, but it's like how can we learn from what has come before us to create meaningful experiences today?
Yeah. And one last thing, totally kind of related, unrelated, is like one comment I always see on my post is no cameras, just vibes. They're like, no phones.
No
Everyone's
phones.
no phones,
Look
right?
how free we all
no
were.
videos.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if back then they had that technology, they would be doing it
They have
too.
phones. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? Also, like, okay, you know, the fact that there's even video recordings for you to post is like
Right.
somebody was recording it. It might not have been the same thing as like phones and screens in our faces. But yeah,
people got away with a lot more.
absolutely. And
That's the difference.
It's true. And there's, you know, I think that, you know, we could talk forever in this conversation. Hopefully, you know, this isn't the last time. You'll have to come back and, you know, we'll do a part 2 and so on. But yeah, I think it's like it's always important to find a balance between remembering what was good and what was different.
Right.
Because I do think, you know, we don't have time to get into all of it now. I think there is some ways in which the sort of screen-based culture and algorithm-based like social media has like changed all of our brains.
Sure.
Like that's irrefutable. But I also think that there's a million different ways that like the culture that we create moving forward, it doesn't have to be the same thing that existed then for it to still be good and for it to still provide meaning and depth to people's lives. Like we need community, we need each other.
Right.
And if one of the things about the coming out of the COVID era was like I do think people make more of an effort in these like more, you know, the last couple years we're seeing the resurgence of physical spaces, third spaces, like, and there's way more dialogue around that. I don't think the average person knew what like a third space was until we just didn't have them anymore.
Right.
And then someone like theorized about it on
Right.
TikTok.
Right.
And now that's all we talk about is like that they don't exist.
Right.
But, you know, the thing I think we have to resist is like the commodification of all of that stuff.
Right.
So that's a whole other thing. But
By community. Like
but,
community.
yeah, real community.
Yes.
Not like the community in the sense of like I can sell you something if I label it as community based.
Right.
Because that's where the commodification and capital bullshit comes in.
Yeah.
But like organic, real human to human,
No.
experience stuff together.
Mutual aid.
Mutual aid, absolutely. Tap in, you know, maybe we'll post some. There's so much more that could be discussed. We are coming up on the end of the show. Any final thoughts or words or anything you want to leave us with before we play our kind of probably last record?
No, just hope everybody enjoys, you know, the holidays and the end of the year. And
Be safe.
thank you for having me on.
Of course, thank you for being here. And we'll see you in 2026, God willing. And have a great rest of your year, everyone. This has been Cool Breeze. I'm Zephyr Ann, joined by Ben Manzone, a.k.a. There Is No Planet Earth. So go give that a follow if you haven't already. And we'll see you on the other side. Bye, everyone.